Morning. Morning, everybody. Welcome to San Diego. Ooh, it's a little overwhelming to see all of you here. Wow, it's kind of a little nerve-wracking. Welcome, anyway. On behalf of all of my colleagues, welcome here to our 32nd Users Conference. And it's a great pleasure. Well, yeah, it's exciting. Special day today. We have lots and lots of interesting things we're going to do. So welcome. I'd also like to say thank you for being here. I know for some of you it's been difficult to come, so I want to particularly acknowledge you. And also thanks to all the people who have spent the last few months and weeks preparing papers and presentations. This is going to be a very rich and interesting week. What's the purpose of this meeting? It's all about you. It's about learning. It's about sharing some of what you do. It's about creating new understandings. It's about getting together and creating some new relationships, getting reacquainted, all of those magical things. And who are you? Well, this year it's over 15,000 people, which is pretty amazing. Isn't that great? From 131 countries and just about every kind of background you can imagine. We always start out this conference taking a couple minutes to get to know each other a little bit. And I'd like to have you do that now, and I'd like to have you do it all week, and that is to turn around and meet one person and tell them why you're here and who you are, and introduce yourself. Get connected. Do it now. How you doing?
See ya.
Nice to see you. Good.
Happy birthday.
Good. Great. Good. Good morning. How are you? You are too. Hi. Nice to see you. Likewise. Okay, good. Thank you. Excellent. Good. Thank you. Thanks very much. Now you can begin to see the breadth, perhaps a little picture into the breadth of who's here. You come from just about every background, from NGOs, from government, there's over 1,000 educators here, there's people in business, so many interests, so many fields, so many personalities, and you're doing just amazing work. Roger Tomlinson said, special people. That's what you have to tell them, and you are, actually. Your work is changing the world. In almost every field, it's having an impact in decision-making, in asset management, in making things more efficient, in helping us understand our world. All these things are important, particularly now. I'd like to share a little bit about your work in the form of maps. These are some maps on monitoring environmental change, threatened species. And I'm particularly interested in sharing this map about global biomass. This is the first map of its kind ever made by Woods Hole Research Center. It gives us new insight into what's left in our world. Some of you are managing natural resources, mining, oil, forestry, water. And some of you are looking at conserving resources, like this is one of my favorite maps, the tiger habitat conservation map. I like it because it exercises spatial analytics to give some meaning about corridors where we should conserve for endangered species in the form of, in this case, tigers. Your maps here show developing renewable energy in the form of solar and hydropower and wind and energy of all sorts. Even on the far right, tidal energy. We're harnessing renewable energy and making use of it using GIS. Many of you are planning for the future, creating land use plans and doing urban designs and open space plans, and we'll see more of that this morning. And others of you are managing the fundamental foundation of our society, land records, land information. And these maps in particular show information derived from it, like the map on the right, changes in tax revenue. This is impacting, in the United States particularly, many cities, a critical issue today. Your work here shows managing transportation, traffic congestion, and ship monitoring and airport management. But my favorite one here is the one in the center of walking school bus. It takes a moment to figure out what it means. It's really cool. It's using GIS to, direct kids who are working together, walking together to school. These maps show utilities and telecommunications, another kind of foundation or infrastructure. But again, I picked these maps out because they show some interesting things like energy use in New York City, or electrical modeling, or outage monitoring, giving kind of real-time pictures to decision makers who need to allocate appropriate resources. Visualization and buildings are becoming more and more users of GIS. I mean, the whole world of urban design and geodesign is taking on. And again, I'll show the map or point out the map on the left, which is a public 3D viewer in China, opening up the cities for people with little iPhones to be able to take a look and navigate around. Just amazing technology applications. The world is clearly a safer place because GIS is being used for defense and homeland security. I love the map in the center of piracy on the east coast of Africa. It's making shipping lanes more safe because it's attempting to model where bad stuff might occur. And these maps show how some of you are getting the geographic advantage in business, locating in more effective places, more appropriate places, and doing analytics of demographics to understand markets and sales and the like. Well, this collection of maps to me is the most human. It deals with human health and demographics, and it deals with the issues and stories that are amazing, like inequality in income, or diseases, lead poisoning, or violence, or political instability. Your work is uncovering how we operate as human species. And this little diagram, the little pyramid, is about chromosome mapping. And it promises to discover or unveil the secrets of the human genome so that doctors, when looking at it, can evaluate you, your own DNA, and create better health outcomes. So, all scales, just amazing work. Your work in law enforcement for crime analysis is also changing the safety of cities. And in this beautiful map in the center in France, they're using GIS to optimally locate fire stations and other public facilities. GIS is being heavily used for natural disasters. The orange map, the kind of flaming map, is all about predicting fires. And this summer in the US, because of the drought, we had a lot of them. And right at the darkest place is where it was darkest, actually, earlier this year, Colorado's fires. And the map just directly on the right, the Waldo fire, shows GIS being used as a common operating picture, showing where all the planes are and the firefighters are and the fire itself is. And then our old friend Governor O'Malley in the center using GIS to show the severe weather that impacted the Southeast earlier this year, briefing public, briefing the news. Many organizations are using GIS for humanitarian support. They're looking at status maps like these displaced villages in Thailand in the floods last year and in Burma. But the map here I'm most attracted to is the little orange one on the left, showing the combination of factors: climate change, and then social conflict, and then aid, money that's being allocated to support these things. GIS is combining many factors and giving us interesting information. Prior to this conference, you have sent me thousands of maps. This year, I picked a few of them to represent what I'd call on-demand cartography. The FAA is making aeronautical charts, and the NOAA has a full production system now for offshore nautical charting, with many changes coming in, and these charts appear every few weeks, representing all of the changes that are occurring offshore. And then I'm particularly in love with the map on the left. This is the Michelin Atlas, which for the first time ever was built completely, every map by ArcGIS. So if you're going to Europe this summer, support our users. Buy a Michelin Atlas. It's kind of exciting. All right. I'm a little crazy. And beyond the world, GIS is being used to explore remote places. Some of you know that next week, this little lander device, it's called Curiosity, is going to land on Mars. And the maps that are shown here right above it are the sort of suitability maps to pick the right place. God, I hope they got the projection right. So, anyway, keep your fingers crossed. All these separate pieces of work are, in a way, separate stories, mission activities, and they're just amazing, as I hope you're as overwhelmed by them as I am. And then there's another thing that's occurring in the user community, which is GIS as infrastructure. People are taking all the bits of GIS and beginning to organize it into integrated infrastructure plans. It's happening in Europe, it's happening in Indonesia, it's happening in Russia, it's happening with the UN and in the United States as well. People are creating these portals that can access and bring together information and let people see them. This is a new age. It's not just GIS on the single project, but there's this overlay that brings it together.